Everyone, and welcome to a new episode of This is a Revolution, your weekly RevPro podcast, hosted here on Coventry Wrestling. My name is George, and I'm joined by my good friend, Say Less, Mr. Dave the Mark. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good. I'm enjoyed the fact that we had a RevPro back in the UK. I missed it tremendously last week with the Trios Grand Prix being in Barcelona, and it felt so alien to me because I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who won. I don't know what takeaways came from it and what breadcrumbs I should have picked up on. And I'm like, this is so weird. It's like 2022 all over again. But that was like that was just the days of when each show was recorded, but they didn't go up very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to a show and not know what happened on the previous show. But yes, it was good to be back at it, and I'm looking forward to Portchester Hall this weekend, and then I've got a big weekend the following weekend because I'm going to do the Contender show in Portsmouth and the Southampton show the next day. Got a hotel and make good for the August one that wasn't able to happen.
Oh, of course, yeah, they were supposed to, weren't they? And then it didn't. Yeah, okay. Nice, that sounds like a good time, mate. And just for you as well, like having that week of none of it. Like, right, well, I'm just going to gorge in it now. Like,
yes, mate. Yeah, I RevPro is my routine.
yeah, it's really the thing that I'm starting to get to, right, mate, which is really weird for me, is I often see people when they're talking online about that. Oh, this is happening with the stream, or is it like the usual things that you'll get when you're trying to make your offering work in a venue that might not be set up for live streams as often, or just decide they're going to put things in the way of it happening to a good quality. And normally I see that people, has this started yet? The stream's not on yet, and that little thing. It was so weird being on the other side of it because I find I'm attending more shows live these days. So in actual fact, I'm finding more shows that if I'm not watching it live, it's because I'm doing something else. So normally by the time I get home, it's uploaded anyway, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll catch up with that in a couple of days. But sitting there yesterday going, when is it going to start? When is it going to start? We have a little ritual in our house as well where Nick does this every week, but every time one's on, she will have her RevPro chocolate. So she gets herself a little treat, or I usually pick one up for her when shopping, and she'll justify. I'll have my chocolate, I'll watch RevPro. So when I was at home, I did the same thing. I was like, right, I'll give my RevPro sweets. I'm sat there with my little bag of chocolate peanuts, waiting for the show to go live. Waiting. Because I can't start it before the show goes live. And then it got to 25 past 4. I was like, fuck it. Hand it. Off we go.
Mate, it was, I really, really felt for everybody yesterday because everything seemed to be a little bit off. The doors opened like 10 minutes later than they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's only half an hour from doors till show starts.
Yeah.
So that 10 minutes makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So they delayed the start of the show for 10 minutes, but you could tell that was a necessity. And then the lights went.
Oh, no.
Like, just before the show was about to start, you just heard like a noise and suddenly like, oh, the lighting's different. And I was looking and it was like, there was like big spotlights above the ring, but only 2 of them were working and 2 of them weren't.
Oh, God.
And it was like whatever was like wired to that rig went as well. So there was no light on the stage when Francesca came out. And it was just one of those ones where you're just like, God, like, how hard must it be to be an Andy Gouldon, like to be a wrestling promoter where you're doing all of it by yourself?
Yeah.
But once it actually created a really cool atmosphere in the ring because it was like, like when NXT used to just feel really, really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like because obviously they had the black ring and they were like the first company that I'd seen to do the black ring, and they'd have the lights and it felt like spotlights on the ring and the crowd were quite dark. It was like that. They very quickly worked out a new light that could point at the stage. So it was only Francesca that came out in the dark. And even then, it was actually quite nice because she came out in the dark. She kind of looked for everybody, and then a spotlight appeared on her, and she was like, "Oh, like she sold it brilliantly." Um, and then after that, the show ran like smoothly. But Emily was sitting next to me, so I took Emily for her first show since 2023.
Mhm.
Yeah, just before the first Copperbook show. We went and we did Christmas shopping for the kids in Coventry, which was why Phoebe didn't come because we were buying her Christmas presents. And but again, I know there'll be people listening to this being like, "What are you doing Christmas shopping in September?"
Oh man, I've already
But
bought my first Christmas present.
good for you, my friend. Good for you.
You have three kids.
Well, this is it. Like, so we have to split the cost a little bit because of the kids, and also if we do it like closer to the time and you go out and go, oh, we're going to do our big Christmas shopping. One, we either don't have any time to do it because you need lots of kids' free time to shop,
Yeah.
or you put all your eggs in one basket and you go out and be like, everything they're getting for Christmas is coming from online stuff
Mhm.
or what we see and buy today. Whereas we prefer to do it in like 3 or 4 bursts.
Yeah.
And then, like yesterday, I don't think we bought anything for Sophie yesterday. I don't
Yeah.
think there was anything that we saw for her. But we got half a dozen things for Phoebe, got a few things for Isaac, and it's like, cool, no worries. Doesn't matter that we didn't see anything for Soph because we'll go another time and there'll be loads of Sophie stuff.
Mhm.
So, anywho, she's sitting next to me, and she gets really overwhelmed with loud noises. So she'd bought her ear loops,
Mhm.
and then she looked at me and she was like, if I put my earbuds in and put RevPro on demand on my phone, I can watch it whilst listening to Andy on commentary, right? And I was like, yeah, you absolutely can. And then she tried to like, it's not working. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then it was like, Coventry is, we've talked about it a lot as Coventry can be quite a quiet crowd. So there were times yesterday where she was like, oh, I can hear the commentary. I'll listen to that.
Oh, I think that's
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
but
Because I
the
explored where you
vibe
were.
the vibe yesterday that I found for Coventry was we sat just in front of the stage,
Yeah.
um, and there were a couple of people talking about atmosphere, and I think it was perfectly summarised. When it's like Coventry are really really loud for the people they're invested in, and when there's like a clear dynamic as to who they should cheer for.
Mhm.
And then they can be quite quiet if it's I'm not sure who I should be cheering for, or I'm not sure who these people are, or
Yeah.
like even like the Sons of Southampton versus Oku and Shah was a bit of an odd one in the sense that the story of the match kind of, at least the first half, really baby faced Francisco, but people want to cheer for Oku and Shah because they're the guys they normally cheer for. So in the end, nobody really cheered for anybody.
Yeah.
If they could see, like they weren't just stubbornly cheering for Oku and Shah. They were like, oh, I don't think we're meant to cheer for them, but isn't he a bad guy? And there was that kind of element. But that was a really intriguing match in itself because at some point, everybody worked heel,
Yeah.
and at some point, everybody worked babyface in the match. And it was so fascinating because M turned to me and was like, so is JJ Gal turning heel? Like, is that what I'm meant to be picking up on? And I said, interesting that you say that because I don't think he's going to. But I do think that Francisco will, and it will be like there's the justification for it. Like you'd said, you've used a really good analogy before. I can't remember what it was though. What's your analogy for Francisco and him turning on JJ, but there always
M-
being the
MJF and Adam Cole.
that's it.
And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the friendship where he's not turning because that's what he was always going to do. He turns
Yeah.
because that's where he feels. He feels embarrassed. He feels like he was pushed and made to believe he had a friend. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I think is absolutely spot on, and it's absolutely the dynamic they're playing. or at least what I'm picking up from it. But it was really interesting that Em picked it up as well. Has she doesn't watch any Rev Pro. She doesn't watch any wrestling anymore. She used to she'd watch it for my sake. She was never really into it, but she'd watch it and she'd pick up on it, and she knows wrestling from years of watching it. Like she understands it. But now she doesn't watch the product, but she sees all the YouTube backstage promotions, reaction stuff, because I have always got that on our screen
Yeah.
when it comes out, and so she'll be around, and she sees the dynamics. That was her match of the night, actually. That was her
Nice.
favourite.
Yeah. That was a good match. Um, Interesting what you said there about the crowd noise and stuff, because I've always said watching it on demand that Coventry is one of those venues I find it really hard to watch the shows from because the crowd noise is always really low and just the sound and low in general is quite low. This sounded like a very well mic'd up, very engaged crowd actually for this show. It came across really well on demand. Um, so interesting what you say there as well. But
When
so
did sorry man, when did the stream kick in? What did you get to see?
I don't think so. We got to see bits of matches most of the way through the first half. The match that I remember seeing all of first was the tag match that you just talked about.
Oh yeah.
So we saw bits of all the other matches. So I don't to be fair, I don't think we saw what might have been the opening match. I don't think we saw that at all.
Yeah, Kieran Tracy and Angel Riaz.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what I saw at the end was I literally saw Kieran losing the match, and then
Yeah,
the promo after. So that's what we
yeah.
saw, which I found really interesting because I thought he was honestly I thought he was getting on the mic to do something a bit more babyface leaning, like they're
Mhm.
losing a lot, losing a lot, losing a lot. Okay, you're going to change their ways or something.
Yep.
So to see him double down on his mugness was just like, oh, wasn't expecting that. Interesting. Um,
That was
and
probably the match that was the quietest, but the match that was the loudest was the match that followed it, which was Nino versus Joe Lando.
yeah, that was to be fair. What we saw of that really enjoyed. Really got the crowd into palm of the hands. Not surprised though, right? Because that's where it was Coventry that the last trios weekender was, and now
Yeah,
as we refer to it, CPF country a bit now, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. Like CPF and the Bryants are probably the most consistently used acts in Coventry,
yeah,
and it's like that's paid off so well because they're so over there.
yeah.
And it was proper healthy dueling chants all the way through, like really crowd really invested on the edge of their seats for some of the near falls. Like
The near
I'd
falls were
imagine
great.
if you asked everybody there, and it was the most people I've seen in Coventry yesterday as well. Um, that Naito and Bushi rub worked again. What it worked in Sheffield worked again in Coventry. I
Hmm.
reckon if you asked everybody there to pick their match of the night, I reckon half the people there would pick Joe Lando versus Nino, and then the other half would be split between like the match that they liked, whether that
Yeah,
was Naito and Bushi because it was Naito and Bushi, or for me, my favourite match was Trent Seven and Luke Jacobs. So whether it was those guys that prefer the more kind of like physical classic story, or the people that really enjoyed, like Emily did, the storytelling that went on with Oku Shah and Sons of Southampton. The Amira match with Alexis Falcon was definitely the moment of the night. So
hmm,
there'll be loads of people that will say that was their favourite match because they loved like the feel good feeling. So I think like literally half the crowd would say Nino and Lando, and the other half would be split between the other matches as to depending on their preferences.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I thought it
it
was a
was
very
interesting
good
as well because
match.
it stayed as only 6 matches.
Yeah, I
I
was expecting more.
felt that I felt that there'd be something because, like, I thought, well, there's something involving the machine. Again, I know that there was obviously Progress and the Bloodsport show yesterday.
Mm.
I don't know if there were any other major promotions running,
Not that I'm
um,
aware of.
but and I didn't see the progress card. I just saw that the only person that couldn't work for Rev Pro yesterday from Bloodsport was Ridgway and Mark True.
Yeah, and Kanji was also on the Kanji and Rio
Kanji
were
was on the progress.
yeah, Kanji. So
But
Kanji was
yeah,
against Nina Samuels. Rio, I can't remember who she was against, but I'm sure she was wrestling. And then on the Bloodsport, Ridgeway versus Mark True.
yeah. Um, so I thought maybe there'd be something. I was thinking also something involving Josh James. I thought, he's back now. He's working again. I'd imagine there is a slight difference between being unfilmed, small venue, 75 people ready,
Yeah,
and Rev Pro on demand, storyline ready.
I would agree. I think that's fair.
Um, but he was there yesterday. First time I've seen him at a show. Um, and that kind of threw me off a little bit because I was like, well, if he's being publicly here, he's probably not going to attack Shah, which is what I thought he might do. So I was thinking, yeah, there might be something else, but I don't feel like it needed it. And funnily enough, I asked Em afterwards. I said, "So, what do you think? Because it's like from 2 years ago to now. What are your impressions?"
Hmm.
And she said, "The HMV Empire 10 times a better venue than the 229, in the sense that it looked like a wrestling show. It felt big time." She said that the people that she saw 2 years ago, seeing them now, like she couldn't believe how much bigger and stronger and better JJ Gow was.
Hmm.
We were sitting with Wayne and Emma, and she took an immediate liking to Luke Jacobs and Connor Mills. Was very much just like, oh, these boys look they look a lot bigger and stronger and more handsome than last time I saw them.
Age appropriate, Emily.
Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. I think she was quite shocked when I told her how old they were. She is still a young 37-year-old in her eyes. She turns 38 next month. But yeah, she commented on that, and the other thing she commented on was she said, "I enjoyed the show so much more because it was 6 matches rather than 7, and it felt like it flowed really nicely, like
It
everything,
did,
like."
yeah.
And I didn't miss a 7th match in the slightest. 3 in the first half, 3 in the second half. If it were, would I have potentially added another match and shaved a couple of minutes off of some of the ones that were on there? You could do that, but I don't feel like wasn't watching any of the matches thinking, oh, we're dragging this on, aren't we? Like everything felt like it justified its time. And it was I can't think of many Rev Pro shows that I've been to which were like such a buffet. Like,
Yeah.
that's such a cliche in wrestling, but you had the Amira and Alexis Falcon payoff. We're not even going to do intros. We're just going to run in and we're going to beat the shit out of each other. And you had that style match. You had Luke and Trent, which did manage to do 2 things. It told a brilliant story that I really liked about effectively there was only one way Trent could win that match, which was to draw Luke into a dogfight,
Hmm.
knowing that Trent can take a beating, and effectively let Luke feel like he's basically let Luke be complacent. So if Luke's dominating the match, he could catch him on the counter with, a couple of chops and a DDT, a couple of chops and a burning hammer, a couple of chops and the I can't think what it's called. But like those kind of, and that was like a really interesting story for those people that, like me, that just obsess over it.
Yeah.
But for other people, it was just a really good strong style match.
Yeah.
And then Joe Lando and Nino was like the super athletic Osprey kind of like a classic modern match. Lots of near falls, lots of like nearly moments, really athletic, really finely like tuned. You also got a brand new debutant. You got the International Dream match.
Hmm.
And you're like, we got all of this stuff from just 6 matches.
Yeah, it was a really good
And
card. Yeah.
it felt really balanced. I really, really liked that about it.
Mm.
On the topic of people that were there, it will not surprise you to know, no, it won't surprise you too much to know that Leon Cage was there.
Yeah.
But the person that would surprise you, I think, and has made me very happy, was to know that Mark Haskins was there.
Ooh.
So in the HMV Empire, you've got the backstage. So you've got the stage which leads backstage,
Hmm.
but then you also have a side door that leads backstage that the wrestlers come out from when they're coming out to do merch.
Yeah.
And often wrestlers will loiter there. So you'll often get people come out to stand at the back and watch the wrestling, or you'll get people that have just come along to watch. So whether that's like a Lucia Lee or a Chantel Jordan, people that are kind of more local to that area that have just popped along to the show. Amari's normally there. But yeah, Haskins was there
Mm.
and watched the entire show. I'm literally just sitting there looking at him thinking, please tell me this means you're going to get booked.
That
'Cause
hopefully means, yeah, good things, because, and interesting, because that might play into something I was going to discuss later. But the reason for me, because we've often said, right, like, we as fans, we only know what goes on this side of the curtain, okay? And we've often been, I think, the head cheerleaders for Haskins to Rev Pro. So much I've asked him and Vicky straight, when are you coming to Rev Pro? When are you coming? And I get the same response from Vicky every time. Tell Andy Quilden to book us. And
yeah,
not that you ever think, oh, I wonder if there's something going on there, but you kind of do think, well, why is he not? Like, are there reasons? And I also want to say as well, look, um, sometimes speculation can run down a complete rabbit hole. Like, I used to go, why is Millie McKenzie not in Rev Pro as a regular? And some of the stuff that she's come out with recently about health issues and stuff, and you kind of go, sometimes there are things you just don't even consider as to why someone might not be somewhere.
yeah. And then there
What?
can also be the side of it where it's just Haskins probably, because he's such an accomplished wrestler, he's going to be more expensive to book than a young trainee up and comer. And you're probably, if you're going to book him, you want to use him and do something good with him.
Yeah,
Whereas a young up and comer wrestler can come in, get beaten by somebody to make the other guy look good, and go back out again.
yeah,
You can recycle a James Ellis or a Shane Hook or someone like that. Come in, get a chance to impress people, and go again. Haskins don't need to impress anybody.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you're also then like, well, we've booked Haskins, we should probably do something good with him, but we've got Connor Mills and Michael Oku and Luke Jacobs and Ethan Allen and Leon Slater and
Yeah,
Angie and Danny Luna and the Cutthroat Collective, and you're like, there just isn't enough space.
and I think the thing that I like about it most, though, is what it does do is it shows that clearly, if there ever was any kind of issues that would preclude him from being there, clearly that that isn't there now, because he was there. He's not going to be in the building just watching if there are issues,
No.
right? Like, so that's a really nice sign that could
And
something
he
be
is
out there.
my Brit Rest White Whale.
Yeah,
I said it before tonight. He's the one person where I would, if it was the right match, and it wasn't a million miles away. He's the one, because I don't go to anything but Rev Pro. I like to almost pretend none of the other companies exist,
hmm,
because it helps my weird way of thinking about wrestling.
you're immersion into wrestling, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it helps me to think of these people as real people who are, and obviously I do stuff. I interview them. I know how wrestling works, but
But I get
I
it.
like, you want to lose yourself in it, and the easiest way to lose yourself in it is to only watch one product, because then you don't have but Anita Vaughan and Sapphire Reed are like hyperactive in one company and they're wrestling against each other in another company.
Hmm. Yeah.
Staying kind of as ignorant to it as you can. But Haskins is the one when I was watching the old Rev Pro on Demand, and you're just like, this dude's class. Like, he is
Yes.
my kind of wrestler. Give me Mark Haskins versus Chris Ridgway on a Rev Pro show down the line, or Haskins versus Jordan Breaks. Like, I would be, oh, I'd be
Like,
very, very happy.
I mean, look, I've got a promotion that is less than a 5 minute walk from my front door, where it is very much, for the most part, a Butlin style promotion, right? And that's no shade to that. It's just not what I enjoy for the majority of the time of my wrestling. However, it's 15 quid, and if Haskins gets announced for it and has been announced for it, I've gone. I think it's 3 times now. I've gone
Yeah,
purely because Haskins has been announced. I'm just looking now to see when he was last in Rev Pro. 2021.
yeah,
Last in
yeah.
Rev
'Cause it
Pro.
wasn't long before I appeared.
Yeah,
My first show was January 22.
yeah, and Yota Tsuji was his last match. High stakes 2021. Yeah, wow.
So yeah, that was an interesting one.
The Legion with Chris Ridgway.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Like I thought from what I saw of ESL, I thought really good show. I like what you said as well about the tag match Oku Shah Sons of Southampton. It told a lot of story, and
Hmm.
it did that in a way that didn't allow in ring to take a backseat to it. The in ring
No,
was still there. It was just it was more of what I would say, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but more of a WWE storytelling type of match, right?
which is
It was very pronounced.
probably why Emily enjoyed it the most
Mm,
because
yeah,
that's always been her favorite type of wrestling.
yeah. So like you've got that kind of style that you can like have these big Oku going for the submission, like, and all the big telegraph spots, the sort of things that, like you said, would be much more likely to be on a American wrestling style program rather than a New Japan show, for instance, or something like
Hmm.
that. And it was a very good spot in the card to do it as well. Allows them to build up for the match on Sunday. It got over. What it really did really well between this and the match of Amira. It really got over how much Michael Oku likes to be in the spotlight.
Yes, yes, yes,
That
yes, yes, yes,
that was the thing I took away from both of those so much. It was about
yes.
Michael Oku being in the spotlight both times. It wasn't necessarily about him being out there being supportive. It was about him being in the spotlight. And the same with the match. He needed to get the win. He needs to tackle himself in. And you had the same with JJ as well,
His
because
music to
JJ,
play at the end of the show, right? If he
yeah,
gets the win, it's his music that they go out to.
exactly. So all of that sort of stuff. JJ was really wanting to get the win as well, because he knew if he pinned the number one contender or the
Yeah.
champion, he's next in line for a spot, right? So you're telling great stories. And so you said something earlier. I'm not sure actually whether I agree. Well, this is me trying to remember only from yesterday. You said everyone plays heel in the match. I don't know if I can remember David Francisco playing heel.
He only when he started to
Hmm.
yeah, he started to resort to some old tactics.
Ah, of course. Yeah.
He tried the feet on the ropes.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yeah. No,
that
you're right.
kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
you know the David Francisco smile when and when it appears, you just immediately can't trust him.
Dave, I'm going to get cancelled by a huge amount of people that listen to this for even making this comparison. He was 2003 Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, yes,
He's he's fully in on it now, where it's the lie, the cheat, the steal. But because of the crowd support for him at the moment, it's all done with a wink and a nod rather than
yes,
"fuck you, buddy."
yeah.
Um,
That's perfect.
yeah, God, we're going to get cancelled for so much WWE references on this. But hey, look, it is what it is, mate. And yeah, and I just thought that was a really good match. I keep saying this every time I see her, and I feel like I'm going to get to the point where I sound patronising, so I'm going to have to stop. But every time I see Amira wrestle, she is getting so much better. And I think the reason I keep saying that is because every time I watch, there is something new to her game.
Hmm.
When
Yeah,
I was
yeah, literally, yeah.
when I was watching her last time in Eve, like she was putting on some really tight submissions and get like really wrenching and stuff like that, and it's stuff that you wouldn't have seen from her 3 4 months ago to the level she's at now. In Red Pro, the actual getting in, she's getting really snug in with Alexis. Like you see some of the forearms she's chucking and stuff like that. She's not just going like flailing a little bit and like you see that sometimes from the lads, right? I won't lie, there are times when the lads look like they get into a little fight and they just looks like that, just tippy tapping each other a little bit, right? And I know that it's a work, you're not there supposed to hurt people. Um, but I guess what I'm saying is Amira got to that level where when she needs to look snug, she at least looks. She might well be being snug and maybe over egging it a little bit, but it looks good. Her spear is one of my favorites that I see in wrestling, and
Hmm.
it for a woman who's so small, it shouldn't. But the way she throws herself into it, she makes herself feel big. I love the little roll out at the end because to me that just
Yeah.
makes it look like you're clattering someone and the momentum is just taking you through.
It's like the moose style spear that like
Yeah,
oh I really like that.
yeah, and if you do it too cleanly, it shows that you're throwing yourself out of it. Whereas the way
Yeah.
Amira does it, it just makes it look like the momentum's taking her out of it a bit. So yeah, look, great way to cap that feud off. And I think what was really good as well is you're doing a feud-ending match in Coventry. So you're not
Yes.
doing it in London or on a big show in Wolverhampton, right? You're doing it in Coventry to show that these small rivalries can be ended here. And then when we eventually do circle back round to it, then you can do it at Wolverhampton. Then you can
Yeah.
do it at Doncaster, York Hall, eventually, all of that sort of stuff. Loved seeing her pick up the win. It was so good, so well deserved. But yeah, Oku's involvement, he came out with the suit on, he just appeared. The only way it could have been much more about the spotlight is if his music played as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but even just doing the little like throwing it over to a mirror and all of that stuff, doing
Yeah.
arms, everything, it all felt. And look, this could be me reading too much into it. It really could. But given what happened in the match before the interval and what happened now, it really
Yes.
felt this is all about Michael coming out to be supportive. I feel like we're going to get where we've got to come in, and we've been saying this for ages. There's a phrase, shit or get off the pot, right? And we've said this with Michael Oku in the heel turn, right? It either needs to happen or it needs to not happen. I feel like we're getting a gaslighting Michael Oku coming. Almost feels like, I don't know if you were watching AEW much at the time, but there was the Cody Rhodes, I'm not a heel, I'm not a
Yes.
heel. Something like that, I think we could be heading towards maybe. Um,
Yep.
I'm all
Yep.
in.
And I feel like they got both Michael Oku segments perfectly judged.
Yep.
You know, Shah and Oku, it could have so easily have just turned into them not being able to coexist, but actually, you know, they shook hands at the end. They left fine. Like
Yeah.
it was well measured. It wasn't a parody of that story, which we've seen lots before. And Oku and Amira, he got it right for me in the sense that I agree with everything you've said, but there would also be lots of people that were there that would just be looking at it as he's come out to support his girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't sort of kind of like so on your nose, is what I'm probably trying to
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Yeah, it was like you said, judged really well. Also to add, Shah Samuels has a fucking incredible spine buster. I'm
Yeah, he does, mate. It's so
such a
good.
mark for a good spine buster. I used to love Triple H's back in the day. Batista
Yeah,
was
me
good
too.
at it. Like that move when done right. It
Everybody did a spine buster back in the day, right?
yeah,
Like Triple H had one, The Rock had one, and Austin had one,
and it's
and
I
they
think
were
it's what it's a bigger guy's move, isn't it?
and they
But
were also different
yeah,
because the Rocks was like quick and pop up, and then
yeah,
he'd pop up and do the people's
yeah,
elbow. Austin's was like pick them up and just slam them down,
yeah,
but Triple H's was that elegant power of lifting and turning, and
yeah,
that's Shah's.
yeah.
Um,
Loved it.
I'd much rather Shah use the spine buster as a finish than the East End Destroyer.
Yeah,
But yeah, just a personal preference.
yeah.
Um, Angel Reyes looks like he's going to be hanging around for a while, doesn't he?
That was interesting, wasn't it? So I kind of, when he was announced, a few of us I think have all made this thing. We're like, so this is the new Zazoya, then, is it? Because
Yeah,
yeah,
which is it's. I said this to Em. I said naturally people are going to compare him to Zazaya, which is really harsh on him because that's big shoes to fill. But at the same time, it's the natural thing that people are going to do.
yeah,
And the feeling I got yesterday when he won, and then when he came out at the end, was I think he's done what Zazaya did in the sense that it's I'm going to come and stay in Portsmouth for however long,
yeah,
a couple of weeks, a month, maybe a couple of months, maybe indefinitely, and see how many opportunities I can get. I'll train at the Portsmouth School of Wrestling. I'll do everything to immerse myself into it.
hmm
Um, I can't think of the guy's name. Gin El Libertario.
yeah, yeah,
He did it as well, but didn't actually get booked onto any Rev Pro shows. But he came over and was stayed in Portsmouth for a couple of weeks, like on holiday. But he was training at the school and attending the shows. Like Zazaya did what Osprey did to British wrestlers when he went to Japan by showing there is a blueprint for how we can do it.
yeah, for
And
sure.
it's not just about it's not just oh how do I get on RevPro? It's how as a Spanish citizen do I get to go and live in the UK for a couple of weeks or a couple of months?
Mm.
You know, where is there accommodation for me? How can I get because I'm assuming he won't just be in a hotel, he'll be in like RevPro accommodation in terms of
Yeah,
staying with one of the RevPro boys
of course.
or in one of the, Airbnbs that Andy uses. Like something along those lines. But get like at the end and him being anointed because I was expecting Naito and Bushi to kick him in the dick or something after he'd helped them, but to properly do the Lij roll call of the fists up, and you're like, oh, okay.
Mm.
The one thing I don't get is I don't know what match we're getting next week because it felt like they were setting him up versus Will Caven, but then but this is the first time Naito and Bushi have done something where it doesn't feel like it's over. Like, I don't see
Yes,
Naito
yeah,
and Bushi wrestling True and Lacey again, and I don't see Naito and Bushi wrestling CPF again. But surely Naito and Bushi are going to wrestle Mills and Joshua again.
I've got a theory which we'll come on to with the Live in London 100 chat.
Mate, well, this is where I would love to know what they can and can't do with Naito and Bushi in the sense that what Naito and Bushi will allow them to do. Because
Yeah,
Mills and Joshua won this match, but Mills and Joshua won this match with a little asterisk next to it in the sense that it wasn't a dominant win.
yeah,
But if we could have Mills versus Naito 1-on-1
hmm
and Mills be allowed to win and allowed to win not by roll up but by submission, tap Naito out,
hmm
that would be star making for Mills.
yeah.
And it would be like the most satisfying thing to watch. I don't know if it's plausible.
Yeah, I
But
get you.
what's your Porchester Hall theory? I'm interested.
I think we're getting a trios match of some sort.
Yeah,
That's what I think we're getting. Yeah, and I'm still so my initial. I've been chatting with Marty about this. My feeling is we get a trios match with Bushi, Naito, and Angel Reyes.
yep,
There are two paths we're going down at the moment. One is a trio to build up to then an eventual match against Jay and Connor again.
yeah.
Or do Jay and Connor have a partner for said trios match as well?
And if they did that, would you have Rio?
Well, this is the interesting thing, right? So to me, there are only two obvious partners for that trio.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when you said of a certain Mr. Haskins being around, who is a wrestler that would complement Connor Mills and Jay
Oh
Joshua's
God,
style?
yeah. Yeah,
Mark Haskins. So that could be a good one.
that
Um,
would be really cool.
that would be really cool. And what a way to reintroduce him back into RevPro, right? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
prominent spot. Um,
Look what the Cutthroat Collective. Look how well that has worked.
hmm
Having a stable.
Yeah,
I know that stables in independent wrestling must be an absolute nightmare. And I'm sure Andy is a little bit burnt from the Legion
yeah,
when NXT UK started and Great O'Khan went back to Japan and he lost Rampage Brown and you're just like, oh, like my Legion's falling apart.
yeah, yeah,
But with the Cutthroat Collective, you had this permanent cast of people that they but still wrote on a rotation, but they had always had a common enemy and a common purpose.
hmm
It doesn't have to be, like I'm not a believer that every Cutthroat Collective needed a name because
yeah.
of what they were doing, but things like Northwest Strong and True Grit, if we're going to call it that, they can be. They don't all have to wear matching gear
No,
and anything like that. It's not like the Nexus for another WWE reference. Like they can. You could have someone like a Haskins come in, do something with them, go out again, come back a couple of months later, do something with them, or even do something as a solo artist, but him still be referred to as, he is a member of True
aligned
Grit.
with them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
aligned with
yeah,
them. In the same way that when Chris Ridgway comes out,
yeah,
he is Northwest Strong, but he's not with Young Guns, but he's still part of
exactly.
that. Yeah,
Yep.
that alignment. Yeah, yeah, I'd be
And
happy
I'm
with that.
sure, thinking back, I'm sure Teddy Ray was announced as a member of Northwest Strong as well when he
Yeah,
wrestled in Southampton.
yeah, he was. Do you know who the only one? I don't know if they are still part of that, but I remember being at an event once where they were announced as that. That was Rio. She was
Oh,
once,
really?
yeah, she was once announced at a show as that as Northwest Strong. Um,
Yeah.
but so yeah, like then talking about the who else could it be if it's not Haskins, right? The two obvious ones to me are Rio,
Yep.
but that requires intergender happening, and that
Yep.
requires intergender happening outside of Trios Weekender. Trios
Yep.
Weekender feels like this semi-canon, semi-non-canon.
Yep.
Still haven't got any, and this was something I wanted to see if we get from yesterday. Any clarification on the wishes? Andy Quills and the genie. It
Yep.
seemed heavily implied over social media that, at least by Ethan, that there are this that we're going to get this. But so interesting to see how they handle that. See if there is anything to come off there. But yeah, Rio makes the most sense from that perspective. But does it? Because at no other time of year do we have women involved there.
And does it work for her? Because that feels like it benefits Mills and Joshua's storyline more than her own.
hmm
And I feel like she's on a path to Mercedes.
But then does she? Do they do? Can they do something
It's
cool
the
where?
side quest she needs to do
Yeah,
to keep her busy.
and this is what I think Mills and Joshua versus Naito and Bushi is the side quest
Yes,
to keep them busy.
exactly.
Could they have a scenario where Rio pins Naito in a in a
just
six in a trios match, or is
just that sentence sounds so
yeah
bizarre.
because
Reopens nightly.
the other thing, and I heard from someone who watches the podcast or is more of a listener, I should say, and she said to me, actually, she's not a fan of intergender wrestling. So you normally hear this from like um, what I would say is usually like guys who are a bit sort of less tolerant. Oh, women can't match up to men. And I get it, right? And to me, when it comes to any kind of wrestling, I'm very much like it has to make sense. So my wife, has watched Rev Pro now for a couple of years, already understands psychology better than most people seem to,
Yeah.
on the basis that people just want to see cool shit. And she'll go, well, this doesn't make sense why that person's winning because they haven't done X, Y, and Z. So why should they win? And it's the same. We talk about this with smaller wrestlers. Um, but Rio, notably in size, is a bit shorter than other wrestlers for sure. but she doesn't feel smaller than other wrestlers,
No.
and that's a key thing for being able to put her in something like that.
Yep. Yeah, my intergender views tend to be based more around the concept of the championships and divisions.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So if you were gonna have a company that has intergender wrestling in it, you need in my head, you need your championships need to all be open to men and women.
Hmm.
So you wouldn't have a women's championship and a men's championship. You'd just have the championship or a variation of that. And because Rev Pros have women's championship and men's championship, you wouldn't have men and women wrestling each other because they don't benefit from it in
I
terms
also,
of the rise in the ranks in their
yeah,
in their quest for gold. But where it can work is when it is men and women versus men and women, or when someone is doing a personal favor to a friend,
yeah, yeah,
like Danny Luna stepping in for Mark Andrews and wrestling with Flash Morgan Webster, is for the betterment of subculture.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
Rio
Yeah,
doing this for Mills and Jay Joshua. If we're going to keep with the fact that this wasn't a one-time deal with those guys, then yeah, that could work.
yeah. I'm really interested, and this is a very quick side tangent, but I'm really interested to come back to this conversation in 5 years from now and see whether there is any difference in that, because now that we're in an industry where there's so many more non-binary conforming people
Hmm.
when it comes to gender conformity, when it comes to transgender, all of that sort of stuff. Um, I just think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. It's one that I've been thinking of for the last couple of years about how wrestling is going to fall in line with that, and whether wrestling does fall in line with that. Where we are going to see companies be more open to sort of open divisions. That's just me getting off on a little side tangent, but it was just when we mentioned that it'd be interesting to see, especially with Red Pro, how over the next couple of years how they deal with the potential of more intergender and whether the Rio inclusion was a precursor to that. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
my final one that I was putting into contention for is again Nico Angelo. I keep beating that
Yeah,
drum. Makes complete sense. Whether or not it'll happen, who knows? But that could be a good. And then either way, you've then got a full guy for each team, right? You could have
yeah,
Nico come in, take the loss. You could have Angel be the one that takes the loss. But
yeah.
yeah, interesting stuff. But you know what, then, Dave? Let's start talking about the card for.
Because we've got a lot of it already, right? It's Monday night,
We've
but
got
we
five
already
matches.
know. Yeah, we almost know the full card.
We do, mate. We do. So viewers will be like, wow, look at this. We'll see a nice, lovely, lovely card on the screen, or part of the card. So what we're going to do is we're going to run down the matches we've got, just give some thoughts, give some predictions, and then maybe just give a quick what else do we think is going to be included on here. So one that I know from a lot of people that when I saw this really, really kind of got really super excited for was the tag team match. Um, and that was CPF versus Dragon Dyer and Dragon Kid. Um,
Yes, Dragon Dyer.
I don't know. I don't know too much about either of them. One of the things that I'll tell you where my extensive knowledge of Dragon Kid goes. It goes to my save games in my booking games when I would hire this young guy in my 90s save or 2000, whatever the fuck it was. Go, wow, this guy looks like his stuff looks really cool, and he was trained by Ultimate Dragon. I just presumed that this was a different Dragon Kid.
No.
And what I was told today is just just get over the fact that you're going to have to reconcile that this guy is nearly 50.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know Dragon Kid very well at all. I did a bit of research to find out um, who he was when he was announced. I know Dragon Dyer because he has been involved in New Japan and Best of the Super Juniors, I think Junior Tag League as well, the last couple of years. And it's an interesting one to see because it's brand new people, and people that I don't know. I know enough of them to know what to expect, and I'm looking forward to the Dragon Dyer song. But I don't know what the dynamic of their actual CPF looks like.
Mm.
And I don't know, like, I'm excited to see because I've only really mainly seen Dragon Dyer as a singles wrestler and have never seen Dragon Kid. So to see them together as a team sounds exciting.
I think this is the opening match in London. I think we start with this nice, friendly, almost exhibition match, and just
Yeah,
two teams going out there. What I was told was Dragon Kid, legendary cruiser junior, trained by Ultimate Dragon. He is frankly astonishing. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. And he is nearly every Joshi wrestler's favorite wrestler and inspiration.
I
So
really.
yeah, clearly a guy that is like great at what he does because the Joshi wrestlers that are out there over the last 20 years especially are just another breed of wrestlers. Um, yeah, I'm so excited for this. Like I said, not seen anything of either guy, but the reactions of people that I know who are
Mhm.
familiar and who I trust. Yeah, this is going to be a
It's
good one.
a fun statement match, isn't it, for a show
Yeah.
that they're trying to pitch as a statement show. You know, 100th show live in London,
Hmm. Yeah.
first show in their new big home after the first one, and you think like lots of people want to go to the first one. So now they've got to draw them all back and add some more to it as well, hopefully.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, bold move, good move.
Yeah, I'm just having a look. See, the last time Dragon Kid was in Brit King Pro Wrestling at Churchdown Community Centre in Gloucester. That's
From
a
that,
it's a really random promotion that was like in Gloucestershire, Swindon. That one year had Kenny Omega for them as well. Like they got some names over here. Dragon Kid, Lee Hunter, and Nico Angelo defeating Tiger Alley, Jay Joshua, and Shun Skywalker. Uh, before that, after that weekend, last January, he's not been here since 2011, when they did
yeah,
Dragon Gate versus the UK shows. So a big like one as well for people that are a fan to actually get a chance to see him over here. Great booking. Next, the one that I was so excited to see the video drop for, Nina Samuels, Alex Windsor.
yes,
We we
tasty.
presumed we presumed this would be coming. We presumed this would be the first one as well. To actually get it on this show, it feels big, feels huge. This is a match that
That's a headlining match, isn't it?
it is, and you could make the case that this is a match that could headline Wolves. This is a match that could headline the Doncaster
Yeah,
Dome if you build it up the right
but
way. Potentially even
the,
York Hall. Like it's two of
name
the
name
biggest
two bigger
names.
name wrestlers in British wrestling than Nina Samuels and Alex Windsor.
Yeah,
Like, absolutely, it could headline any British wrestling show. Um, Windsor to win,
yeah, yeah. She's got to right. Like I don't think you could have her not win this match.
unless they subverted expectations slightly by having Nina cheat to win and have the whole of the Cutthroat Collective being shithouses to get Nina to win, and
Yeah,
then Windsor then kind of her next promo being like that don't change anything. It just makes me even more incentivized to come and like slap the piss out of your faces.
yeah.
Um,
I think
and
so.
ultimately, Andy books the matches, right?
Yeah,
Not the Cutthroat Collective. So
yeah.
I do expect a Windsor win though.
Yeah, same. I think that could come. I think there could come a moment where Sapphire takes matters into her own hands, and we still get to that match with Sapphire anyway, despite Windsor
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
winning. But it's going to be an intriguing story to be told, and Look, it means that we're guaranteed after this weekend, hopefully, at least another 3 Alex Windsor matches in Rev Pro over the next few months. Yes, happy with that. Next one, Leon Slater versus the Avatar of Archie Cole.
Yeah, it's like Leon Slater versus Archie Cole.
It was funny when I saw this, right, and I was like, I wonder if that Avatar's alluding to anything. I'm like, I bet no one else has clocked onto this. Open up Twitter and everyone's clocked onto it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
These announcements make me nervous because people will speculate, fantasy book, dream,
yeah,
and then you've got the expectations then going to be high.
yeah,
But what I will say is Rev Pro don't tend. I can't think of a time, unless I'm missing one obvious one, that they've let us down when it's been like something like this.
yeah, yeah. Because the only time that I feel like we've got something where we go, oh, what's this going to be? And it wasn't, was a moment that was never actually advertised, and that was Crew with the machine, right? So for a that was just a, oh, we've got, yeah. Hmm.
Where there were some spaces where we didn't know who they were going to be, you start to
Yeah,
speculate.
yeah, of course,
But
yeah.
this is much more overt, isn't it? This is Leon Slater is going to be wrestling somebody.
Yes, yeah.
Who's it going to be?
So, have you got any names that you think it could be? Because I don't,
Literally nothing, mate. Literally nothing.
and I'm wondering if we get. There's a couple of different routes we could go with this, right? First question is, do you think this gets announced before the night, or we find out on the night who it is? I think that's what we get. I don't think we find out before.
I think it might depend how ticket sales are going.
Okay, fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Like if if Andy thinks that, well, first of all, it depends who it is,
Yeah.
because you've got to think if it's someone that would move tickets, they'd announce them because that's the goal, isn't it? To fill up Portchester Hall.
It is. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this isn't going to be someone that where they think they're going to move tickets, but someone where it's going to be like a cool match that we've not thought of before. I don't think it's going to be a Rev Pro regular.
Do you
So
think it's going to be someone UK
it's
based?
going to be someone. Really, mate, honestly, I really don't know. It's really blindsided me, and I'm trying not to think about it too much.
Because, like you said, you don't want to get the weight of expectation on you where you're going,
No,
it's this, it's
but
this, it's this. But
also
Repro,
wherever I go with it, I talk myself back round because you're like, well, it can't be a big name person because they'd advertise them.
okay.
But then, if it's just a British wrestler that we see all the time,
Why would you do this?
why would you do this? So then it's got to be someone that they've imported in, even if it is like, I mean, you think it's an import to bring somebody over from Ireland, like anyone that's not in a driving distance from London is being imported in the sense that they're paying for a flight.
Yeah.
So it's got to be someone that's being brought in. But then why would you bring someone in if you don't think they're going to draw money?
So I'm going to give you a few of my theories here, right? And again, some of these could be really on the nose. Some of these might not be. Here's where I think we go with this. You've got a couple of different options. You've got the Chris Ridgway style return, right? Someone on the Brit Rest scene, again, like a Haskins, right? Where, like you said, it might just be done as a, or we're going to keep it as a surprise a little bit and then go, who could it be? Who could it be? Go, oh, that's a cool name, right? So you got that kind of thing. You've got they have a name that they can use, but for whatever business reason, the company doesn't want them to benefit from the rub of announcing them, right? Slash politics being involved as far as TNA is concerned.
Yes, yeah,
Is there
that's
is there
an
someone that
interesting idea.
is there someone that they've got that if they announce this, it could cause them some issues. That means the match might not happen. Okay. Um, Is it going to be someone who everyone knows and loves, and might not be the big ticket shifter in the normal way because they've seen them enough, but will get a huge reaction? My not for that is Manders, right? Recently out in Germany. I don't know if he's posted anything about traveling. Manders is normally one that's posted on social media about traveling back to the US. Hasn't.
Anders versus Leon Slater 3.
Yep.
Two of my favourite matches of this year.
Could we be getting that here? And because if you've got a level of people that if you do that for and you're expecting a big name and you don't get the big name, they're going to get a bit of a pop and people go, oh yeah, that was cool. Manders will blow the roof off of there. People love Manders, right? So I think I'm
One more
somewhere.
option
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Or if it is Archie Cole.
If it is Archie Cole, I feel sorry for the lad. I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think if it's just, and I mean this in great respect, but a regular run of the mill person, I think you're really setting them up to fail.
Yes, that's exactly my thoughts on it as well.
And I don't think that is because I think Andy.
London crowds can be unforgiving at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
intrigued.
so I am massively intrigued. And what I will say is my expectations of this show do not rest on this match in the slightest because there is there is so many more reasons to have bought a ticket.
There would be yeah. I was going to say there'd be types of shows where this would be kind of make or break. This is going to be the big moment.
Yeah.
But there is so much cool shit happening.
This isn't going to main event the show because Oku and Shah are going to main event the show. It's not going to. You've got Emerson and Kanji, which could main event a show. You've got Nina and Windsor, which could main event a show. You've got two imports who could main event a show. So actually, the expectation on this isn't very high.
I think, because I think we've got 5 already. I think we're getting 7 matches in total. I don't think we get an 8-match card. I think we get 7 matches in total.
I don't want an 8-match card.
No,
I like 7.
I think we get 4 matches in the first half, 3 in the second. I think the 3 in the second half are going to be Shah and Oku. I think it's going to be Windsor and Nina. I think it's going to be a Naito match in the middle of those two. I think Kanji and Emerson are going to close out the first half.
I agree.
So, and I've said CPF versus Dragon Dyer, Dragon Kid opening the show. So you've got 2 matches potentially in the middle of that. I think this one goes into number 3, match 3 in the first half. That's where I'm placing this one.
So really, it doesn't need to be a big name in the slightest, but
just something cool.
I have put the silhouette out there, so it has to be something interesting.
It has to be something interesting that delivers, but the show isn't hinging on it. Yeah.
Yes, and I will say this: that moment when whoever it is, their music's going to hit. There's 3 reactions it could be. There's the, oh my god, awesome, it's Manders. There's the, huh? Is this it? Is it this? But then there's also the, who is it? Whose music is this? I don't know this music.
I think
confusion.
I think the fact that the way the venue's set up is much better now. That even if you're sat on the side you're on with the screen behind you, it's much easier to get a view of it.
Just get their name up there.
100%, yeah.
I remember when Chris Ridgway came back for the Revolution Rumble, and because he has that really long intro, and his name doesn't appear on the screen, there were loads of people that were just like, "Who is it? Who is it?"
And I just
remember Mark Rothby standing up, being like, "It's Chris Ridgway! It's Chris Ridgway!" And everyone being like, "Oh, it's going to be Chris Ridgway." That guy just said it's Chris Ridgway. And you're just like waiting for it like a minute before he appeared.
Shut up, Rothby.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember him at the last show going, I've seen such and such outside. I'm like, shut up, shut up.
It's like, don't tell me this shit. I don't want
Yeah,
to know that.
yeah.
Let me have a surprise.
A shout out to Sharon because she went to me. She went when we were all chatting. She went, I saw Alex Windsor across the road. She went, none of you did. She went, I saw her though. She went, I just didn't say anything. I was like, thank you, Sharon. That's exactly what we want. Right, next match: Emerson Jane versus Kanji. 2 out of 3 falls. I feel like this podcast just willed this into existence. Also, you probably saw the route this was going because I think we called 2 out of 3 falls a
Yeah, we
couple of
did,
weeks
mate. We
before
did.
this. Um,
And he loves it. He loves
yeah,
the 2 out of 3 falls because I just, we've never spoken about it, but everything that I've learned about Andy tells me that he's not a big stipulation guy.
hmm
And, but stipulations are kind of demanded in wrestling at times. The story needs stipulation. So this is the perfect one where it's like, well, we're going to do a stipulation, but it's still traditional wrestling.
yeah. It's not like we're gonna put you in a hardcore street fight because what does that get you for these two, right? It doesn't.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna get the death match in Ref Pro. So let's just give them 2 out of 3 falls. Um, I yeah, this is gonna be an absolute banger of a match. Like again, this match could main event any show
100%.
that we
Yeah.
talk about. And that's the theme I'm noticing here is there are matches being added on that everywhere else, any other time of the year, are main events. And this show
Yeah.
is respectfully just another match.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
who do you think wins?
I think Angie wins.
I think Emerson Jane wins.
Mm.
I think I've bought into your theory that Mercedes potentially doesn't lose the belt until Wembley.
Yeah.
And if you are going with Kanji, then you need to find some side quests to do in the meantime. And a bit of losing and not being at the top might be a good place for it to be for a bit.
Yeah. Bit of Hangman Page treatment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I get that entirely. Um, have we got any more to preview?
Have we got any more to preview? Michael
Obviously, we've
Oku
got
versus
Shah and
Shah.
Michael
Yeah,
Oku.
no,
Obviously, we've got Shah and Michael
that is
Oku.
our main event. Now, before we go into previewing that, we've got just over 5 minutes till we finish up tonight. Are there any more matches or things that you're expecting? I'm expecting
That's what I was going to ask.
I'm
Is there
expecting Andrew
anyone?
Woodland to get in the ring and talk nicely about what's happened live in London 100, the significance of that. I'm expecting
Yeah,
that maybe at the beginning of the show,
yeah,
before kicking us off, and potentially him introducing the first match as well. Um,
mate, have you got a cage match there?
I do.
Can you find out who was on the live in London, the first ever live in London?
Yeah, let's do it. Da, da,
And
da.
Andy does love a little bit of history.
Yes.
I don't even know if it was called Live in London, the first ever Live in London,
Well, we're soon going to find out, Dave.
because they were all live at the cockpit, and
Ah,
then
yes.
and then the decision, like you could see Andy learn not to name shows after a venue because a venue can change.
Yeah.
So when they moved to the 229, it was just Live in London, not Live at the 229.
Live at the cock. Um, Live at the cockpit. 10, 9, 8, 9, 6. That in itself. So that's talk amongst yourself a minute. What else do you think might happen while I find this?
It just made me think that I wonder if that's who Leon Slater's opponent could be. Somebody from the very first Live in London or the very first
Okay.
like London monthly show they did.
Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. That's not a bad suggestion. I'm just having a look. So Cage Match doesn't have necessarily a live in London one or anything like that. I found live at the cockpit, but that doesn't quite add up to 100 on Cage Match. But let's go with this, right?
Yeah. Was
Which
Shaw on that show?
Shah was
Because
opening.
Shaw was on. Shaw says he's, I was on the first ever London show.
Yep. So intro. Okay, so there's definitely a couple of names that won't be on here. There's a couple of names that we'll discuss. So show number one, Jodie Fleisch opened the show defeating Shah Samuels. Um, Jodie Fleisch, oh that would be a name to get in. Loved Jodie Fleisch back in the day. James Castle versus Dan Head. Um, Joel Redman taking a loss to Jake McCluskey, who shall not be named, defeating Mark Haskins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But then that would be an interesting one as well, wouldn't it? Because it's you want to tell the history of Haskins being on the first ever show, but you also don't want to allude too much to the match he was actually in.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we could see something there, but
Maybe.
yeah, and
In which
and
case,
the
apologies for potentially spoiling everybody's surprise by pointing out the fact that he was in Coventry.
I
Um,
I don't think he will be the surprise then, if I'm honest. I think it's, as much as I love Haskins, I think it feels like it's got to be someone slightly bigger. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
I'd bloody love it. I'd absolutely adore it. Oku and Shah. Does Shah retain?
I don't know. I cannot call this match whatsoever.
So neither can I, even though I'd never really contemplated Oku winning. But what I can't call is how it goes down, and if they somehow leave with this undisputed British Tag Team Championship match coming up, or if that's all a red, like a bit of a red herring, we're never going to get that tag championship match because Oku's going to turn on Shah, and this is where we get the Oku heel turn.
Mm.
Or does Oku win? Because for Shah to have a little 1 month title reign,
Mm-hmm.
but him to win it at Crystal Palace in front of 1,500 people and his entire family, and then lose it on the 100th ever Rev Pro show in London, and in the meantime get to successfully defend it against Luke Jacobs, who is, head and shoulders above 90% of the wrestlers in this country. Like, you're talking top tier talent. That's a pretty perfect run for 6 months ago. If you'd said Charles Samuels was going to be undisputed British heavyweight champion this year, everyone would have said not a chance.
Yeah.
So there absolutely is that. I don't think Oku can win the title and be babyface Michael Oku, but I do think he could win the title and be heel. I do think he could win the title and not turn heel on Sunday, but just let people boo him. I think if he beats Shaw, I think fans will boo.
I do as well. I think so. There's multiple lanes we can go down here. One is Oku winning. What does that mean? One is Shah winning, because we probably all expect Shah's title reign to be short. But does this make it too short? Is this
Yeah.
against what WWE wanted?
I expected him to lose it at Uprising. That was my.
And I expect him to lose this much sooner, right? I expect it to be, if you're going to go down that route of a quick reign, go down with it really quickly, right? And have stakes to him lose it, right? So I think I said,
Yeah.
if we had what Shah's proclamation was, I'm going to retire if I don't win this, then have that over the top every single time, right? And have every match be that, so you could do it now and go, right, this feels like this could happen.
The only
Or,
problem with that is
yeah,
that relies on Shaw actually retiring.
of course, yeah, and
And
that's, yeah,
the other side might be that Shaw was never even contemplating retiring.
exactly. That's
But
what I
they
mean. Yeah,
knew that by saying that, it would get marks like me absolutely hanging on it,
and you're
thinking this
100%
might
right.
be my
Yeah,
last time to ever see him. But
yeah,
you can still do big stakes on it in other ways.
yeah, and
Um,
I don't think, again, I mean respectfully to Shah, I don't think you need to worry about Shah being able to draw people in for Uprising, because I think that Mercedes, I still think Mercedes is there. That's what's going to be there to be the draw for people. So you can have
plus,
everything else.
the title draws people in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So
whoever's holding it and whoever's challenging for it
yeah,
is
That's what they want to
the
see.
draw in itself. And although like the idea has always been that the champion is the draw, and that's why the champion has the belt.
Hmm.
Like you say, this show has Mercedes, so therefore she is,
She is the draw.
and
Yeah,
it's in Cardiff, which is a hotbed for wrestling shows.
exactly. Yeah,
And AEW are in town, like all the stars have aligned.
yeah. So we've got all of that. So look, I don't know. What I think we need to come out of this with is, I think, one way or another, Oku needs to have a dramatic shift in character, and we need to end the show with a massive moment. I don't mean a massive moment by a title change. I mean, once the bells happen, something big needs to happen.
Mm.
I keep saying it. I'm gonna share a phrase, something that Marty said to me, right? Because I didn't pick up on this at first, and he did, and then I've noticed Shah mentioning it and others mentioning it, and I've just got this image now in my head I can't get out. After matches and moments between Oku and Shah, they were consistently sharing beers for a while. They were talking about beers. Shah was talking about being on the beers when he had that right. So they were sharing the beers, almost rock and stone cold like.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Can you do that in this match where you have them drinking the beers? Shah's got a mouthful of beer, super kick, beer comes out, like a visual. That's what I'm getting. I'm just getting this big
Yeah.
visual of like,
One of those moments that just lives in your head because it's just
an iconic like kind of spot. You can see how like the way they could produce it to make it look. And then Michael Oku firmly turns heel.
Mate, I've been excited for this show because I missed Rev Pro had 1 week where I couldn't go, and it has made me so hungry for more Rev Pro. I've been excited for it because it's Portchester Hall and it's a new venue, and although we've been there once, that was just to like whet the appetite. I'm excited for more shows there. But just talking about this card, I've realised just how like I take for granted when I see a match graphic go up, just how good this card already looks with just 5 matches so far.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited, mate. I'm
We're in
excited.
for a banger, mate. We're in for a banger. I cannot wait till it gets to Sunday. I shall catch you there, my friend.
See you later, bud.
See you later.